Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Monday, November 13th, 2023. I'm Astrologer Dave Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, thanks so much for being a part of HighVibe.tv. If you're not, make sure that you are part of it to get all of my horoscopes and all the shows that we do on HighVibe.tv. Be a member today. And of course, thanks to everybody that came out to the Stairway in the Stars. Or Stairway to the Stars, sorry. I'm literally recording this as I'm exiting out. Everybody that came to the astrology panel on Friday that I moderated, to my lecture on Saturday, or to the DJ show I did tonight to close it off. Thanks so much from the bottom of my heart for all the support. Looking forward to coming back to the studios. But of course we're here to talk about this new moon. Now, this has been an intense time. The eclipse season has ended. This new moon happening in Scorpio at 20 degrees, with the opposition, of course, building from the sun that you will see on this Monday make its actual opposition. While the moon is going to cross over Mars, which we've seen that Mars opposite Uranus. Now, this is a very weird time, but at the same look at all the astrology over these last couple of years, you know, this is not, let's say, abnormal per se to see new moons with Uranus. I mean, we're kind of used to seeing the trines, the quincunx Uranus new moons, the oppositions. We've seen them. We've seen the conjunctions. We've seen them. What makes this one different is Mars. Mars being in Scorpio in its home sign. And when you add Saturn, that's stationed direct, Pluto near the end of Capricorn, and all these dispositing energies really ramping the energy of Capricorn, right? Really looking at Saturn's energy. And then Mars, which is in Scorpio, especially with that north node that's in Aries and that south node in Libra. You know, Mars is in a very strong position. Even that Sun and Mars conjunction coming by the end of this week is very intense. Very close to squaring Saturn in Pisces. So, you know, number one is to not freak yourself out about the changes we're all having to make in our lives. It feels like with this opposition to Uranus, like the weirdest parts of life aren't functioning and then other parts are. And those parts that aren't functioning in normality or in our conscious understanding and state almost become like the insolvable issue in our life or in our spiritual journey or actual reality. And so this is going to be definitely a whole month where we're going to be looking at this Uranus energy. And one is, what doesn't work? Well, the relationship you have with what doesn't work. Are you going to continue looking at things as a problem about what you don't have, or about some issue that you got to face and that you have all the things, but it's about integrating them in? You know, especially with Mars there, it just wants it in Scorpio, quick, intense, and it wants the answer, but more importantly, it wants to feel it. It wants to feel the answer, and it wants to retrieve it, it wants to receive it, and it wants to not feel like it's got any loss of power. And so this is really bringing up this energy within ourselves of like, where have I lost my energy or my power that I feel so powerful, whether I'm manifesting in this area of my life. Maybe it's about money, because this brings up so much of the financial aspects, but it could also bring up maybe identity for you. Maybe you always have been strong in your identity and now you're feeling like, what the fuck happened? Or it could be relationships. They've always been smooth, but now they're not. Or it could be like they never were smooth and now they are. You have to realize that this is where we're all becoming upgraded. And the biggest upgrade is through getting over your own ego's shit. What I think is difficult, though, is Venus. Venus in Libra, it's at home. Mars in Scorpio, it's at home. But this Venus, dispositing the south node, is in Sessi quadrant to to Uranus in this one. 21 degrees, 5 degrees. So going to 6, there's a 135 right there. And I gotta say that this makes it to where it becomes to where we almost feel like there's no way that we're gonna find a solution to find balance or harmony, and it feels like it's just constantly going to go off a cliff and there's never going to be a moment of regaining. It would almost like having vertigo and thinking you'll never be able to walk down straight again in your life. Like, oh, it's always going to feel like it's tilted, and I'm always going to be feeling like I'm flying backwards. You feel like musical chairs where, you know, you're playing around, you start spinning yourself in the chair and you're dizzy, and you're like, I'm never going to be able to see straight again. That's just one analogy, but it's like, this Venus is almost wanting it so beautifully, you know, in many ways, I'll call it like angelic looking, to just kind of swoop down and just take care of things, or some person, especially with Uranus in opposition to the Sun, this new moon, and with Venus in Sessi quadrant to it. These are the two planets that deal with relationships. They're in a very odd angle. The South Node's espousing it. And then, of course, this is a new moon with Mars and the Sun and Mars coming together this week in conjunction. So, you know, this is really about how you're dealing with it in yourself. You can't cast blame on the outside world. You can't put it so much on, well, this event's happening and that event's happening, and, you know, they might be, but it's about how you find that power that you've already had within yourself in a new upgraded level. So it's about the approach. It's about the approach within yourself. It's also about the irony of the limitations that you become living in, of this perfect, beautiful look of how the aesthetic, spiritually, physically, and mentally, emotionally should be. And it needs to feel that way. It needs to look that way. It needs to be that way. Probably there's people right now wishing, why don't you have a microphone, and why are you not on your fucking normal like cinema cameras and all that? It's like, I'm fucking got a baby upstairs and my woman, and fucking they're asleep, and I just had to take all the gear fucking, and it's 4 a.m, and I'm not gonna wake them up, and I fucking have my iPhone, and that's the way it's going down. That's the beautiful moment. It doesn't look as beautiful as maybe, because you have to erase what looks beautiful. You have to literally step into what's, the message is powerful, this is me showing up, and we have to be willing to show up to whatever looks like it's crossed weird, whatever looks like the angles of life are all over the place, whatever feels like is gonna be, of course, your own predictability of this is gonna go horrible, or this is gonna go really good. And then this is where it's not about predicting in your life so much from your ego standpoint, like this is always a for sure good, and this is always a for sure bad. This is where we have to get rid of those, and we have to step into, this is what it is. This is what it is in the moment. This is where I can cultivate, I can accelerate by being willing to get out of these value systems of how it looks, how it should taste, smell, look, and also feel, and how it comes. It needs to come fast, it needs to come powerful, it needs to feel hard, it needs to feel soft, it needs to feel a certain way, it needs to emotionally hit me somewhere. I need to feel the life of it, or gosh, there's too much of the life. It's like, get out of all those places and get back to what is gonna be the best way for you to access your power, by getting rid of the look, by getting rid of the feeling, by getting rid of all these really subconscious and unbalanced ways of actually looking at it. This is a time where we have to put the boundaries up in our life. You know, don't be looking in, oh, well, maybe there's more here. Where is it? Just like, this is what it is, this is a no. It's not gonna work. So a lot of it, the simple solution is this gonna work? Yes or no? If you can't answer yes or no, and it starts to become too much of a question, then step the question back to the more basic questions to that question and get to those, well, yes, yes, yes. And if you're starting to get to more yeses, then yeah, maybe you just realized in that process by going into that backwards motion to go forwards. That's very Uranian. But if it starts to become a, oh wait, that's a no too, and then that's a no too, then draw the boundary. This is done. I'm not looking anymore for an answer there. I'm not trying to connect to that energy. I'm not trying to be part of that energy. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. You have to also get over the what matters and what doesn't matter about things that are trivial to you, number one, surviving, and you, number one, stepping into the power of who you are. So I think that this is a very tricky time when you get tricked in your own mind and tricked in your own way of expectations of how it normally should look. Everything right now is not in a certain area in your life and probably connected to a string of other little things that don't feel normal. Is that a bad thing? This is about the opposition to Uranus, learning to embrace help from others, talking with other people. This is not about compare and contrast. Especially when you're in Scorpio, then that's where jealousy comes up, or that's where, is there something hidden here, or is there something? Just like, show up with your value sets open, with an energy of not attaching to things that really don't matter, and especially being open to the acceleration of a radically unknown, but also a process of being willing to experiment with better solutions to very simple problems that really you're creating way too much of a crazy, projection on, or even an attachment to. This is Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Neptune's still retrograde, and we are going to see Neptune as it's stopping over these next weeks as we get into the holidays, and especially the end of November here into December as it stations direct. It's like, things are going to feel really out there. They're going to feel very, I was going to say disconnected, but that's very Uranian. It's going to feel very fucking numb or out there, or things are slipping. And that's where Saturn, at least direct now, with Pluto and Capricorn dispositing it, saying, whoa, okay, let me get a grip here. I know it's fucking foggy, I know it's slippery, but as long as I don't slip and fall fully, am I really falling? And I think if you take this and you set the intention like, I'm not gonna fall, it's okay if I slip, it's okay if I fall, but if I go off the edge and I fully am gone, that's where it goes back. I don't have a card for you all because I'm on the run right now, but I appreciate you all. My Hypergate school has just started. It's only $150, or you can be a member of High Vibe TV Premium Plus to always be in all my schools, get access to all the schools. But of course, if you just want to purchase a school and always have it in highvibe.tv, just click on Hypergate 3.0. Of course, that's my Astrology to Prophecy course. This is the third version of it, where it's already just the first of 10 classes has just gone ballistic, and I haven't used it as my presentation here as parts of it in the big questions that we have about prophecy, but more importantly about decoding and uncoding the ancient understandings of prophecy into a modern approach. I appreciate you all so much, sending you much love. Please share these videos, and of course be a member of High Vibe for support. It's still $10.99 a month for where you get traditional, all the shows except for the school and for special events. Everything, and with the app had another new update, so many awesome community aspects in it, all the way to, of course, live streaming with chat to everything and connecting with people, and I can't remember everything in there, but you can just go to highvibe.tv and check it out. I appreciate you all so much, spreading mad love to you all in weird times, and remember, you're a human being. And no, we're not broken, but we need recalibration, and we need moments where we need to readjust. Just like nature itself. Doesn't mean that we're little machines walking around, and that we're flawed forever because, our arm breaks in a certain way, or because you gotta detach from, I'm broken. You got to already be whole at this moment, and approach everything from that space. And even though you could try and convince me otherwise, why don't you just try what I'm asking and see what happens. Thanks so much, much love. It was great being here, and all those that came to support, I appreciate you all very much. Peace.